peut garantir notre sécurité. Et nous avons accompli des progrès historiques ces dernières années pour bâtir notre Union européenne de la défense. Au début de cette année, nous avons lancé le plan Readiness 2030 qui pourrait mobiliser jusqu'à 800 milliards d'euros d'investissement dans le domaine de la défense. Cela inclut le programme SAFE, désormais prêt à fournir 150 milliards d'euros pour des achats communs. 19 États membres ont déjà soumis une demande. Le programme est complètement souscrit. Ça, c'est une très bonne nouvelle. Nous travaillons aussi à accorder une prime à ceux qui soutiennent l'Ukraine ou achètent du matériel ukrainien. C'est une aide financière d'urgence face à un besoin urgent. La semaine dernière, j'ai pu le constater de mes propres yeux en visitant les États membres en première ligne. Ce sont eux qui connaissent le mieux la menace russe. Et sans aucun doute, le flanc oriental de l'Europe protège toute l'Europe, de la mer Balte à la mer Noire. Et c'est pourquoi nous devons investir pour le soutenir avec le Eastern Flank Watch. Cela signifie doter l'Europe de moyens stratégiques indépendants. Nous devons investir dans la surveillance spatiale en temps réel afin qu'aucun mouvement de force ne passe inaperçu. Nous devons répondre à l'appel de nos amis baltes et bâtir ce mur de drones. Ce n'est pas une ambition abstraite, c'est le fondement d'une défense crédible. Une capacité européenne développée, déployée et entretenue conjointement, réactive en temps réel, sans aucune ambiguïté sur nos intentions. L'Europe défendra chaque centimètre carré de son territoire, mesdames et messieurs. Et dans tous les pays que j'ai visités, j'ai entendu le même message. Il n'y a pas de temps à perdre. Donc, lors du prochain Conseil européen, nous présenterons une feuille de route claire pour lancer de nouveaux projets communs en matière de défense, fixer des objectifs précis pour 2030 et créer un semestre européen de défense, parce que 2030, c'est demain. Et c'est aujourd'hui que l'Europe doit se préparer. Honourable members, when we talk about independence, we're talking about choosing our destiny. That is what Ukraine is fighting for. And that is what all Europeans deserve. Because Europe is an idea, the idea of freedom and mutual strength. This was the idea that drove the post-1989 generation, when East and West came together. And it is as powerful now as it was then. And this is why we are bringing future member states closer to our union, investing, supporting reforms, integrating into the single market. We must keep up the speed on this merits-based process, because only a united, I would even say a reunited Europe can be an independent Europe. A larger and stronger union is a security guarantee for all of us. And because for Ukraine, for Moldova and for the Western Balkans, their futures in our union, let's make the next reunification of Europe happen together. Honourable members, what is happening in Gaza has shaken the conscience of the world. People killed while begging for food. Mothers holding lifeless babies. These images are simply catastrophic. So I want to start with a very clear message. Man-made famine can never be a weapon of war. For the sake of the children, for the sake of humanity, this must stop. This is also part of a more systematic shift in the last month that is simply unacceptable. We have seen the financial suffocation of the Palestinian Authority, the plans for settlement project in the so-called E1 era, which would easily cut off the occupied West Bank from East Jerusalem, the actions and statements by the most extremist ministers of the Israeli government, which incite violence. All of this points to a clear attempt to undermine the two-state solution, to undermine the vision of a viable Palestinian state, and we must not let this happen. And, honourable member, it truly pains me to say these words, and I know that for many citizens, Europe's inability to agree on a common way forward is equally painful. They are asking how much worse things must get before there is unity in response. I understand, because what is happening in Gaza is unacceptable, and because Europe must lead the way, just as it has done before. Our financial support and humanitarian aid far outweigh that of any other partner. Our commitment to a viable Palestinian Authority is keeping the two-state solution alive, and we must urge others to urgently step up too, both in the region and beyond. But, of course, Europe needs to do more. Many member states have moved ahead on their own. On our side, we proposed to suspend parts of our Horizon funding, but this is stuck without a majority. We must overcome this. We cannot afford to be paralysed. And this is why I will propose a package of measures to carve out a way forward. First, the Commission will do all that it can do on its own. We will put our bilateral support to Israel on hold. We will stop all payments in these areas without affecting our work with Israeli civil society or Yad Vashem. Second, we will make 2 further proposals to the Council. We will propose sanctions on the extremist ministers and on violent settlers. And we will also propose a partial suspension of the association agreement on trade-related matters. I am aware it will be difficult to find majorities, and I know that any action will be too much for one and too little for others. But we must all take our own responsibility: Parliament, Council, Commission. My third point: we will set up a Palestine donor group next month, including a dedicated instrument for Gaza reconstruction. This will be an international effort with regional partners, and it will build on the momentum of the New York conference organised by France and Saudi Arabia. Honourable members, I am a long-standing friend of the people of Israel. I know how much the atrocious attacks on October 7th by Hamas terrorists shook the nation to its core. The hostages have now been held captive by Hamas terrorists for more than 700 days since October 7th. That is 700 days of pain and suffering. There can never be any place for Hamas, neither now nor in future, because they are terrorists who want to destroy Israel. They are also inflicting terror on their own people, keeping their future hostage. Europe's goal has always been the same: real security for Israel and a safe present and future for all Palestinians. And that means that hostages must be released, that there should be unrestrained access to all humanitarian aid, and that there must be an immediate ceasefire. But in the longer term, the only realistic peace plan is based on two states, living side by side in peace and security, with a secure Israel, a viable Palestinian Authority, and the scourge of Hamas removed. That is what Europe has always stood for, and it is time to come together and help make this happen. Honourable members, the transition is now hard. I want to speak about competitiveness. I know, but this is a State of the Union, and competitiveness is a central piece of our European Union. Europe's independence will depend on its ability to compete in today's turbulent times. We have everything it takes to thrive here in Europe, from our single market to our social market economy. But we know the economic and geopolitical headwinds are strong, and I just talked about it. And we have seen how dependency can be used against us. And this is why we will massively invest in digital and clean tech. With more to come in our future competitiveness fund and a doubled horizon, our research and innovation programme, and we are tackling the key bottlenecks identified by the Draghi report. That's from energy to capital, from investment to simplification. We have held strategic dialogues with key industries: cars, chemicals, steel, pharmaceuticals, defence, agriculture. In each sector, the message is the same. To protect jobs, we need to make business in Europe easier. A digital euro, for example, will make it easier for companies and consumers alike. And the omnibuses we have put on the table so far will make a real difference. Less paperwork, less overlaps, less complex rules. Our proposal will cut €8 billion per year, €8 billion cut of bureaucratic costs for European companies. And further omnibuses are on their way, for example, on military mobility or on the digital. For innovative companies, we are preparing the so-called 28th regime and speeding up the work on the Savings and Investment Union. Because we have many